Welcome to Wire Doll Masterclass by TAF.LaStudio. Thank you so much for joining in on our session today. We will be, I will be completing this project for you, starting from head to toe. We're doing the outfit, the wings, the hair, and you already know how to wrap the doll body. So we probably will just leave that part out because it is the basics, and if you have not got that part, please go ahead and find the session that actually teaches you how to wrap the doll body. So I'll be showing you how to create the wefts for the hair, as well as doing the wings. Each of these have separate tutorials, the wings and the doll body, and I will be showing you how I create the outfit in this video, which will be the skirt, the top and the sleeve, as well as I will be doing the wings. So the doll body is already created, and the sleeves, I just use a square piece of at least 1.5 inch folded, sew those together, sew the top together, the selvage together, and just sew it on to the sleeves. I've added at least 12, and let's see how much that is. Generous amount, 12 inches and another probably 8 more inches onto the wrapping. So 12 plus 8, that would be like 20 inches for the wrapping of the top, the inside shirt, as well as the underpant. So we're wrapping all of that together as one. So go ahead and measure out your wrapping, and remember to add a little bit of glue or hot glue, hot adhesive to the body of the dolls just to secure the ribbon. I'm just using regular ribbon here. Any decorative ribbon is good. This is probably a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch. Whichever it is fine, as long as you have a tight wrap onto the body. That is what matters most. So I've gone ahead, done that. Go ahead, follow the video instructions. Some parts are speed up so it's not too lengthy, but the main idea is to wrap the body with the ribbon all the way around, remembering to add glue generously occasionally in order to secure the ribbon. Remember, these clothes are not removable. Once they are on, they are totally on. They cannot be taken off, or should not be taken off, as you would destroy the doll. So these are permanent clothing. So I've gone ahead and I've done the wrapping, adding glue all around the body. Once I have reached the skirt, I did about a 5 inch all the way around, making it into a circular skirt. I cut 2 pieces, sewed the edges together, and in the center I cut out just enough for the waistline, not too big, but enough that you can sew around and it can actually go up on the doll's waist, as well as covering the top of the shirt. So make sure you leave enough space. Don't do it too tight so the skirt will not fit, and you have to go ahead and readjust. You don't want to do that. Less work is best. Once I've done that, what I've done for the top is I've taken about a 1/2 inch strip, fold that together, or maybe a 1.5 is good. However wide you want the frills for the neck, you can go ahead and play around with that. Taking just one strip, folding it into 2, sewing it on the wrong sides onto themselves, and then go ahead, sewing the edges, the raw edges together, and just making a frill, like running a loose sewing through the raw edges, then pulling it up to make a gather. Then once I have achieved the gather enough that I want to go around the neck, I just kind of tighten it a bit. Then I go ahead and cut 2 separate strips, making sure that the the insert, or the gather insert that I have created previously, goes in between. That will be on the wrong side, sorry, right side. So the raw edge is turned inside, so it's sandwiched between the two strips. You will see in the video it's sandwiched between the two strips, but the raw edge is actually upward. So that's where you'll sew first, and it is in between the two strips that are on the right side. So the inserts, both the strips are turned on the right side, are sandwiching the gathered strip. So when you're sewing, it will be the raw edge that you will be, or the wrong side that you'll be looking at or will be facing you. So when you flip it upwards, yes, you will actually have the right side facing out. You will definitely see on the video. It's a little bit hard to explain, but the visual is better. So go ahead and do that, and once you have achieved that, then you just pull it out and get the frill portion of it. That will go around the neck as a collar, and that's the reason why we are going ahead and making an inside shirt for the doll and making sure that it's nice and secure. Once you've achieved the collar, go ahead and put that on, wrapping the ends. So you want to put the gather piece centered in the center of the two strips, leaving enough on both ends so it actually goes all the way around the neck, and the gather piece sits nicely centered around the neck. So once you've done that, you put that on as the top portion, adding glue and wrapping around the waistline. Then you go ahead and you already create the skirt, so you can go ahead and crease it, iron it, fold it as however design you want, and then you put that onto the doll, making sure that it is centered as you desire. So if you want the pleat to be at the front, you make sure you put that at the front, because once it is glued in place, there is no way you should be able to take it off, because it's like a finished product. I'm just demonstrating how the skirt actually goes on before putting on the top, but you actually put the top on first and then you put the skirt on, unless you wanted the inside shirt to be the actual desired top. But if not, and you have an additional piece like I do, you want to put the additional piece, which is the collar, on first, glue that in place, and then you put your skirt on. So that is how the doll should look in the end, having both sleeves on, then the collar on, then you put your the inside shirt piece with the underpants. So that's one piece, unless you want to do different color for the underpants. The same practical method works, but if you're doing one piece, then you do the inside shirt and the underpants first, and then you put the collar on and glue it around, wrapping it around the waist, but getting the desired result that you want in terms of how you want the collar to look and how you want it to be styled. So if you want it to be styled and make a rosette at the side, you can go ahead and do that. If you just want to have a frilly collar, that's fine. Just whichever way be, you have enough to do some snipping and to do some adjustments, so don't be afraid to finesse this and work with it. It is an additional portion to the wrap top. I just wanted to show you another design that you can actually go ahead and work with. So once I've done that, then I've already wrapped it around, and I'll take the skirt off and then readjust the top and then add the skirt on. Once I've added my skirt on, I do sew all the way around the waist just for extra security, and then I go ahead and glue on the skirt. I make sure I pin down the pleats in order to get a nice seamless fold, like lying down nice and flat. so my seams are not in the way and they're not distorted once I have glued it into place. And once I've done that, my skirt is on top of the raw edge of my collar, and then my skirt is under, sewn down and glued down. Then I have a finished outfit. Next, I will go ahead and do the hair. I've created the wefts. That is created by using yarn. I have soft yarn that I use, and I just detangled it, like pull it apart, and using paper, wax paper to go ahead and secure the hair on. Then I added some PVC glue, just slightly painting on the glue at the edges, just put in generous amount but gently folding it on. Once rubbing it, painting it on. Once I've done that, then I allow it to thoroughly dry. Once it is thoroughly dried, then I go ahead and take them apart as according to how I want the density of my hair to be. When I do the wefts, it actually allows me to style the hair differently as opposed to just doing that center piece where you just get the yarn and fold it into and glue it down. I wanted to try something different, as well as show you that there's another way to add the hair. The hair is almost like creating a wig, but there's no wig cap here. I didn't do a wig cap. I just added it directly to the doll, as you would do the regular style. So once I've done that, I just snip it apart little by little, and then adding it in circular motion to the head, the bead head. And once I have done that, then I've gathered the comfort or the density that I want, I will definitely go ahead and stop and just start putting the finishing touches onto the top, the very top, because you want to have the opening for the string to go on, for the hanging string, the ribbon. So you don't want to close that up unless you're making a doll with just the hair, but I'm making an ornament doll which has the option of hanging on a tree or in a room or in your car or anywhere for hanging. I wanted that option, or you can put it on a keychain. I wanted to show you that option as well. And once you have done that, just make sure that when you're adding the centerpiece for the hair in the very center, you try and get it as flat as possible. It's a little bit difficult with this doll because it has the loop wire hanging out already, so to get a flat top is kind of a little bit tricky, but work with it, press it down, as well as glue it down as best as possible. But if that is an issue, just remember when you are styling, you have to take that into consideration and style the hair to kind of hide that bump, as you would say. But it's totally up to you. So if you look, I've tried my best to kind of make it flat as possible and hide the bump. Once I've done that and I've styled the hair, I start finger combing it just to make sure that the strands are actually not tangled or anything that needs to be cut away. I cut away. I just did a nice little braid because it is just a soft hair and I didn't want to go too much into a hairstyle with that. And sometimes when you have these hair, it's best to go very simple with the hairstyle. So I've done that into a braid in the back, and I've added this is where you can get loose and just start designing as you please with the hair. So I've added some gems. I had a bit of a decorative tinsel. I would think it's tinsel, just for like wrapping gifts or stuff like that, but it's gold, so it ties in nicely with the outfit and it makes a lovely crown. And because she has wings, she's an angel, or if you want to say a fairy, that's up to you. But I've added it as a crown onto her head. I just go ahead and glue it down. I tried to crochet it, just basic crochet chain stitch, And that's the same thing that I did for the belt. I did basic chain stitch in 2 rows for the belt, measuring around the waist as I go along. So you don't have to overdo it. Just measure to make sure that's the exact amount of belting that you want, and the same for the crown. So don't go excess and then you have to loose it up. I've done that for the crown and for the belting, and then once I've achieved that, I've just added some accessories, some bling, some hair jewel, just to make it stand out and to cover any unnecessary flaws that may have appeared while creating the doll. As I mentioned, this is a handcraft doll, and it is going to have a little bit of flaw every now and then. Flaws that only you know that are flaws. To others, it might be just a part of the artistry. But to you, it's like, oh, I didn't want that there, right? So it becomes a flaw to you, and you try to cover up or accessorize. I think this doll is looking beautiful, and the clothing or the design is looking fantastic. I hope you have tried it and yours is as good as mine's look. And if not, it just takes practice. Remember, I've been doing it a long time, so it comes a little bit more easier to me than you who are starting at the first. Let's go on to the wings. So as for the wings, what I did for the wings was it's my design in how I want to make wings. I wanted to use materials that are actually everyday material that we use, and it's easier to find. You don't have to go to the store to purchase these material to get these expensive materials. It's not necessary. Plus, I wanted to find something that was flexible enough, but also durable enough, and something that's translucent. And the first thing that came to my mind is something that I wear almost every day, which is nail polish. And I went ahead and created the wings with the nail polish. The first thing you want to do is ensure that you have your design with the wire, and you want to do two pieces at a time because you're making 2 wings, which is a pair. So you go ahead and you do that 2 at a time. Do not design one and then go and design the other wing. It will be a little bit off and probably be a little bit more troublesome for you. So go ahead and do both wings at the same time to design them and shape them using your tool. I used my jewelry tool with my pliers and my cutter, and just use that to help you to tie off the ends. And once you have done that, then you can go ahead and use your parchment paper. I use the parchment paper because it's easier to clean up afterwards, and I just put that in a container and add my base coat, which is my clear nail polish, into an area or onto the parchment paper, and then I put my wing inside the liquid and on top of the liquid, and then add some more. And then what I did was use the color of my polish that I want the wing to turn out. I used a shimmery translucent kind of a color. Then I just added that to cover the entire metal piece where the base of the wing is, just because you need to make sure it is covered completely, because you're trying to form a bubble wand. So the wing circumference should be closed all the way up and nicely tied together. And then that will create a wand effect. So when you're pulling up the nail polish liquid, it actually just forms that seal and create that inside piece that you want for the wing. Once you have achieved that, go ahead and put it onto some surface that is actually able to hold the wire, that when you stick it in, it will hold. I used just a piece of, I don't remember what the name of it is called, but it is the white piece of insert that they put when you're purchasing on electronics, or you're purchasing furniture, just for barrier to keep it from being damaged. That's the piece, that's the board I use. I totally forgot the name. And I go ahead and I put it onto that and let it dry. When you are going to do your second coat, please I'm imploring you, make sure that your first layer is thoroughly dry. Your first layer is very, very thin and very, very finicky. So when you're adding your second layer, you want to be very gentle and delicate, or you're going to have to do it all over again, because your insert, which is your thin layer that's inside your wing, will come apart, and you don't want that to happen. So go ahead, be very gentle. I apply about 4 to 5 coats, and then once I'm satisfied with the thickness or the density, I go ahead and I add my top coat. Top coat clear nail polish is a little bit thicker, and that will give it more thickness as well as a seal. And I did that for both inside and outside. So on both sides of the wings, I did that, let it dry. I did that about twice. So all in all, I probably have 6 to 7 coats on, and when I'm done and that is thoroughly dry, this is an extra additional step, but you do not have to do it. I used Mod Podge clear sealer, and I dip it in or just slightly paint it on, and then I let that thoroughly dry, and then I have a beautiful translucent flexible wire wing. My only caution is because you are using nail polish and you need to beware of the scent and need ventilation, so make sure you have sufficient air coming in to get rid of that smell and nothing toxic to your lungs. Go ahead and wear a mask as recommended, and once you have achieved your beautiful wings, then you can let it dry and put your ends together, twist them nice and firm, make sure they're not too long, because it's a miniature doll, miniature fairy, miniature ornament that you're creating. So you want to make sure that when you're inserting it into the back of the doll, you kind of, when you're wrapping the top of the shirt, make sure you kind of stick something in the back so you know that it has a little bit of a gap, so you can insert your wing when you're doing the inside shirt. Just kind of stick I use my needle, my crochet needle, just to give it a gap when I'm wrapping the top, so I know that that space, the wings, will be able to slide right into it. Or else you're going to have to do a lot of wiggling, and you don't want to break the wires for the wings because they are soft, not too sturdy, right? Because they must be able to bend, so you don't want to overwork it and break it. Once you have added your wings in, go ahead, add some glue. This is a step that you should not skip. Add some glue in order to secure it firmly. And what I have done is I have tulle, so I just folded probably 1 inch to the size that I want, and just fold it into 2, and then go ahead and sew the center of that, just making a double wing. I'm pulling that, making a double wing. And I've added that just to mask any additional wire that might be showing, because I forgot to leave sufficient space in the back of the undershirt, so I had to wiggle mine in, and it was sticking out a little bit. So I ended up using a double wing, but you don't have to. Once you get it right, you don't have to. But it looks great anyways. That's great. Just that I had made that error, so it also shows me that I'm able to adjust and make changes to, and you can also do the same to get the same effect. So I added the tulle on top by gluing it down. So the wings first, add in some glue, securing that in place. Then I put the tulle on top and securing that in place, kind of masking the wires from the wire wing. Once I've done that, then I had a little bit of a lace, and I just sewed that like a decorative lace, and I just sewed beads onto it. The beads were matching the gold snowflakes in the outfit, so I added some gold essence to it and just make it a centerpiece for the wing. and then I glue that on, just securing that firmly over the twill and also over the wire wings. And once that is done, then my doll is complete. I also cut the hair to the length that I wanted, and then securing it with the same yarn that actually I use for the hair, and just tying it off. I also had a little bit of an embroidered thread in the gold too, and I just used that at the end and tie that off and add a gem on top of that, so it is secure and it looks smooth, like natural. So that is how I created this beautiful handcrafted angel, and I hope you do enjoy the tutorial. Some parts are a little bit fast because it would take forever for you to sit and watch, just like the repetitive part, like sewing something in a circular motion or something like that, but you get the idea. So if you want to go ahead, grab your tools and definitely start making this doll. You can use any fabric you want, as long as use cotton, as long as you're able to manipulate and maneuver it effectively. I recommend any fabric you would like. All right, so thank you so much for joining this class, and I hope you have learned lots. Apply this to your business. Apply this to your crafting, and just teach someone too as well. Okay, and thank you so much for supporting, and I'll see you in the next class.